to a very much impromptu Sunderland review pod. What the Falk Sunderland review pod, sorry. See, I'm that unprepared. I didn't even get the name of the podcast right. Truth be told, we hadn't planned on doing a podcast at all, but we're so absolutely buzzing of Sunderland's 4-1 demolition over Wigan Athletic. Me and Ross thought we'd jump on and just kind of talk about why Sunderland's great, why we're so happy, and why the year ended perfectly. Ross, I know the answer to this, mate. Just me and you tonight, but buzzing with that. How are you?
Aye, very good, mate. Very good. Like, see, I just couldn't wait to get on and just chat rubbish about how brilliant we are.
It's mad, isn't it? Like, it was obviously we were watching. I was watching on the red button tonight, and I think from minute one, I felt like Sunderland were in control. And I mean, we'll start right at the beginning, right? The starting lineup was a bit odd, and obviously it's worked really, really well. But I felt like that game, even with the changes we've made, that seemed bizarre at the start of the game, or a little bit unusual, shall we say. We were never out of control of that game from minute one.
The only way we were going to lose that is for our own mistakes. They were never going to be better than us. It would be us beating ourselves, in my opinion. And I think the goal kind of was that. It was our mistake. And 4-1, to me, 4-1 even flatters them a bit from the first half.
Because
like, it was so one-sided.
I felt like every time we went forward, we could have scored. I felt like, I don't know what it was. It just felt like, do you know, Wigan looked like they were a League One team. And some would argue and say they were, but we looked like a high-level championship team. And some people will say, well, we're fourth, so we are. But we're nearly in January. We're fourth off top, Ross. I want to get excited. And I know I've tried to tamper expectations a little bit, and so many things can change. But football's about getting excited. We're fourth off top, and deservedly so, Ross. We've done that without two strikers for about 13 games or 11 games or something. We should be excited, shouldn't
we? Yeah, 100%. Look at that back four tonight. We had O'Nien left back, Bailey right centre back, and Try Hume right back. It's a massive, massive achievement to be where we're at this part of the season. Like you say, we had no strikers for so long. And you've got to give it to the man Mowbray. His subs the last two games have been absolutely spot on. Everything he's touched since Christmas, since that new Hugo Boss jumper got on him, like we said the other night, it's made the difference. It's been brilliant.
It's all the Hugo Boss, mate. I have to agree with you. I think exactly the same. He just looks more confident in it. And I think that just evaporates. It does something to the players. It doesn't evaporate into them. I don't.
By the way, if anybody's listening from Hugo Boss, we would definitely be open to sponsorships.
100%. If you want to chuck a couple of thousand into the podcast, that'd be no problem. If you can just get someone to edit it, that would be all right. Actually, do we speak to Hugo himself? Is he a person?
I don't know.
I'll have to find out.
We'll work it out.
I once got a letter from the family of Gucci to my actual job because I'd wrote an explainer piece about the house of Gucci, and they said that they weren't happy with the story, so they wanted all the papers that had covered the story to write about how they weren't happy about it. I wasn't that bothered. Sorry, Gucci. I'm a Hugo Boss man. There's so many things I can speak about here, and obviously we've came straight on after the match, which we never ever do. And there's so many things I've just wrote down really quickly, and it's basically just every player, me praising them, but let's just try and pick it apart a bit here. I'll start with Dan Neil. And I'm not saying he's been the best of all of them. It just there's so many to choose from. Dan Neil was one of 11 superb players tonight. Well, however many subs were made. He gets a bit of stick sometimes, Dan Neil, but he actually played a slightly deeper role. And Bar was actually the advanced one, where Michu kind of was the one sitting, which is not the way I'd have any of that midfield. But that midfield as a whole, Michu included with that, Michu in the middle, was superb. And I loved how Bar was getting forward and becoming the number 10. And I liked how Michu and Daniel sort of sat. But I would have never put them in that position at the start. But that's credit to the players and credit to Tony Mowbray with that, I think, Ross, isn't it?
Definitely. I think before the game, I put on Twitter, I had horrible, horrible flashbacks to seeing Bar and Daniel in the same midfield together after the Cardiff debacle. But with Michu in there, like you see, it added a new dynamic. They were differently, and it's the first time I think I've seen Daniel in the Corey Evans role and felt like he looked comfortable. And he looks. I think he's another player who's grew in confidence as the season's gone on, and I think he just looks a bit more. I don't know if it's just because he's doing well, but he looks more physically imposing on the game.
He definitely looks fitter. He couldn't. He was blown out of his backside after 60 minutes. And you know what? You've just kind of made me think here. And again, it's this is impromptu, so like I've not wrote any questions down or any specific discussion points outside of the players really. But the Cardiff game, we came on the podcast and we kind of went, red flags about Mowbray and this and that and the other, because Cardiff was poor. It was a really poor performance. But since then, and I know we've had a World Cup break and stuff, but like we kind of handle that. We've got a really good win at Birmingham, which is a hard place to go and get a result. We then fixed our home form a little bit by beating Millwall 3-0, who was sixth off top at the time. Yes, we were poor against West Brom. We weren't perfect against Hull, but we put in a well-deserved win over Blackburn, which we deserved within 90 minutes. And tonight we were absolutely dominant and made the likes of McLean and Max Power and players who, have done a job at this level before look like the fourth division players at points. We were that good against them. We spoke an awful lot about those red flags with Tony Mowbray and stuff like that. And I don't think either of us necessarily would have preferred Tony Mowbray over Alex Neil. And when Alex Neil left, we were all a bit worried. But we're now about 4 months into his tenure. He's got us playing some beautiful football and looking like we know exactly what we're doing. He deserves, at this point in time, a huge amount of credit. Tony Mowbray, doesn't he? I think anyone who doubted him, he started proving them really wrong.
100%. And the one thing that we were told by fans of our clubs is when the football's good, it is absolutely wonderful to watch, and we've proved that. We've got the attacking talent so we can play that way. What's impressed me over the last few weeks, like since the break, all right, we had a wobble against West Brom, but West Brom's form at the minute, who hasn't had a wobble against them? Hull, the red card changed things for me. Although we weren't great, I still think we would have had enough to get something there. But the subs, the strength and depth we got, it's starting to show now. I know we've had a lot of injuries in defensive, and then obviously Pritch went off again, which was a real shame. But we just got so many options. And you mentioned there about how bad we made Wigan look. They ran away with it last season when we were nowhere near them. And they've got players who you'd class as, I don't know, everybody says, they're your bog standard championship players in abbreviations. But we've made them now, I think, second half of the game at our place, and especially today, made them look bang average, which what they probably are. And we're just starting to look a step above the average championship team. We've got a bit about us now, and we're starting to gel. And that's, I don't know, I just feel like it could all be a false dawn. Like say a lot of injuries could catch up on us, but why not enjoy the ride? You know what I mean? We're fourth in the championship, playing unbelievable football, and we've got some brilliant players to watch.
I've held on to it as long as I can, but fuck me, Diallo. Jesus Christ. What a player.
He's going to play for Man United next season, isn't he?
Yeah. Do you know, we've had players on loan from Man United before, right? And we've said, we're never getting them. And I don't want to put it down on it because we've got 6 months of them yet. Didn't worry. Another 6 months to go yet. But we've had players from Man United before that were brought in on loan, and we've gone, yeah, I think they're Man United players. I mean, Danny Welbeck sticks out like a sore thumb when I think of that. Johnny Evans is obviously the main one. Diallo fits 100% in that category. He is a wonderful footballer. And do you know what I love most about him? Well, actually, not the thing I love most, because I like when he bangs in 30-yarders, but he works his absolute arse off. And I just think that's testament to him. And I noticed that the minute he came in, he chases and he harries and he defends, he wins stuff back. But going forward, my God, what a footballer.
The ball just sticks to his feet. It's like glue when he runs with it. He's so good. And the thing is, for me, I think he can get better. I don't even think he's hit his ceiling for this season and beyond. Like, he's got so much potential. How old is he? 20-year-old?
I'm going to have to Google it, but he's not very old. I mean, he looks like he's 12, to be fair.
But for how small he looks and how young he looks, I don't think I've seen him this season get pushed off the ball much at all.
He's 20 and a half.
Very precise. Yeah. But yeah, like you say, he's not even 21-year-old, and he's taken the absolute piss out of good professionals in the championship, and he's making good players who are the only. I remember when we played, I can't remember who it was now. Was it Millwall? And everyone had said how good their fullbacks were, and he just took the piss out of them. And these are players who were getting touted for Premier League moves in the press. And if they're going to be moving up to the Premier League like they're getting touted up, then he's going to have a lot of fun next season for Man United. But love watching him in a Sunderland shirt, and let's enjoy these last few months with him in the Sunderland shirt because he's a special talent.
Look, say what you want about James McLean. I'll not go into it. It's not worth it. But he's a very experienced, difficult fullback to come up against that can offer things going forward and whip a good ball in. And there was a point tonight in about the 87th to 90th minute, I think it was just after Diallo's goal, where Patrick Roberts and Diallo literally took the piss out of him. And I mean, yeah, I know some people don't like James McLean and they'll enjoy that because of that reason. But to take all of that out of the equation, to watch Roberts and Diallo backheeling it to each other in like little tight spaces and him just looking beleaguered and knackered. And that's a player that has played seasonally in the Championship at a good level for Stoke, played in the Premier League with us. He's done well at Wigan. He's an international. He's been international for, I think, near on a decade with Ireland. And we absolutely took the piss out of him. We didn't just muller him. We took the mick. And there was a few players on that pitch that were season pros that Diallo and Roberts just took the mick out of. I just cannot speak highly enough of them tonight. And this is why I wanted to come on, because I'm just really happy with the fact that our team's frighteningly good sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you mentioned Roberts there because I thought he was good. He was really good on Boxing Day and he got hooked for Sims and it worked. But today he just came on and wins a penalty, scores a goal, and then, like you say, takes a piss out of James McLean. It's not a bad 20 odd minutes, is it? Half an hour, he's had worse. But
what I like about Roberts, right? When he came, obviously I'd watched him up here with Celtic, and I know he did really well, but he's been around a bit for a young kid, and he's, I think, 24, 25 maybe, and I thought, are we going to get that same Roberts that was at Celtic when he was still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and, thinking, I can play for Man City and I'm now playing for Celtic? And I'm really delighted to say that we have.
I think in a way we've got a different player. Maybe we might even get a better player because he's so experienced and, like you say, he's been around the block. I think some games he does get frustrated, but when he's on it, he's, as Mowbray has said, we've got two of the best players in the league, but they're both playing the same position, and Ahmad and Roberts. So we've just got to find a way in fitting them both in. But what do you know what I mean? What an option to have compared to what we've been used to. Again, I keep going back to it, embrace where we are, because it's been a while since we've had this much fun watching a Sunderland team at this level.
Yeah, and I mean, the big question for me, and look, hey, if we miss it and it doesn't happen, that's all right. Like, I couldn't have wished for the season to go as well as it has now in my wildest of dreams. I keep going on about it. I said I'd be happy with 15th. I think we might be all right. I think we might get 15th, unless something goes drastically wrong. But you look at the way the team is now, and I know there's like another half a season to go, right? So like anything can happen. And we have had the occasional stinker, Cardiff, we mentioned before. These things can happen, but we're winning games away from home. We've continued to do that, which was never really a problem. We talked about how important it was to fix the home form. And we said, imagine if we fixed the home form and continue to win away from home, where we could go. Tonight was one of our best away performances of the season. So the away form seems okay. The home form, we've won 2 in the last 3. One of them against a top 10 team. The other one, actually a top 6 team. The other one against a top 3 team. We're now 4th off top. We keep talking about expectations and stuff like that. Is it time to start looking, further up? And can we do this? We're halfway through the season. We're almost in January. We're 4th off top. I think now those expectations maybe don't need to change, but can be raised a little bit. That we're not just going to survive in this league, Ross. We can go for these playoffs. Let's just say it. I don't want to jinx it, but we can. And if we miss it, it's fine. But we can go for the playoffs. We're good enough.
Yeah, I think there's about 12 teams in this league will be saying exactly the same as us right now.
Yeah.
You get a good run together in this league and you can be up there. And I think we need to maybe let a few on loan and get a few in who are going to make a difference in the starting 11 rather than on the fringes in January, just to be sure, especially with the injuries. Because I think defensively, one or two. I think we can cope in attacking areas like we did when we had no strikers, although it was tough some games. But I think if we lose one or two of our centre halves or a full back, then we're up shit creek a bit. So I think that needs to be addressed. I was going to say a centre midfield, but then you've got Dan Neil, who's had his best performance of the season in a role that is a role we were looking at. Has he been there all the time? He just needed game time. And same with Bar. Abdullah had a few good games off the bench and we thought, oh, what a player. Took him out the firing line a bit, I think, after the Cardiff game. I think he had to learn a few things and he was brilliant today. Mishu, the forgotten man. How good is he on the ball? Technically.
Just wanted to say I miss you too, but
but yeah, Mishu was brilliant, and
he was.
And I seen a stat on Twitter as well about Ellis Sims. He's not, for his size, he's not a target man, and even though he's quick, he's not someone who can just run at and run past people. But I seen the thing today. I think he's had like 12 shots on target as a Sunderland player and scored 8. Something like that. To me, he's a poacher. And we just never realised that he was a poacher until stuff like this, like his 2 goals. He's good, but I think he needs someone up there at times, which would be great when Stewart's fully fit and can play 90. But we've got options, and I just feel like we're starting to see now as we grow into the league and as a team we grow and get used to each other, and Mowbray probably get used to the players, that we've got some talent and cause teams problems, and that's this season. That's all I wanted. If you look at Wigan, you look at Rotherham, who finish above us, we're miles better than them in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we are as well, and I feel quite comfortable and confident in saying that. And look, anything can change, and people might point us back in 6 months' time when we finish 14th and go, idiots, but we can only react to where we are right now, and I'm bloody happy at the minute. I'm going to ask a question that I don't know whether it's actually answerable, which is brilliant, and I like that. I've got one in my mind who I think is. But we could go through every single player, and we probably will by the time the half hour finishes. But who was your man of the match tonight? Who was the player that stood out for you most? It's hard to pick one. I get that, but
it's hard, isn't it? There's so many individuals. I would have probably said Dan Neil for playing, but I'm guessing you've got someone else because there's a lot of standouts.
For me, and this might surprise people considering how good we were attacking, but I thought Hume was outstanding.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
And that tackle in the first half, the money I would pay to see that again it was just a beauty. And it was meant, and it was desire, and it was will to win the ball, and a little bit of malice, which is kind of nice. But I think Hume was a player who I went over to the game in Portugal in pre-season against Rangers, and he played really, really well for the first 45, obviously before the game got abandoned due to the blooming floodlights against Ryan Kent, who is not a shabby player. I mean, I know he's not been on form for a couple of months up here, but it's not bad.
Could be a Premier League play in January.
Exactly. I don't think he's going to drop down to the Championship, put it that way, and try as someone who 6 months ago, a year ago, was playing for Linfield, which is a completely different level to where Ryan Kent's played, and he looked good. And I thought, if he can take that in, and I think if people remember at the start of the season, like some people felt Try was a little bit unlucky not getting the team, and then I think Gucci sort of nailed that position, and then O'Nien filled in a little bit. We played the back 3 a little bit, and he never really got the opportunity, and he had a really good first half against Burnley, and then he got caught a little bit against a very good side in the second half, as many of the players did. But he came in against Birmingham. He was excellent that night against Birmingham when he was kind of thrown in at the deep end. And he's been thrown in at the deep end a few times, even last season against Rotherham at home when he struggled a little bit. But now the more that I watch Hume, the more I just go, actually, he's pretty good. I think he's starting to put in the performances where he can challenge to make that right back slot his own. And he's one of many, not just in that position, one of many that can challenge for position in the team. And that's probably the beauty of this. We've got, hang on, who was out tonight? Sirkin. Pritchard was basically out. Danny Bart, Gooch. Stewart didn't start. And I'm sure Alessi is another one. And we're talking about players in this team that are trying to make positions their own. Huggins is another one, trying to make positions their own. And realistically, if you look at the team, it's a bit of a patched up team. But But another one I've got a shout out for, I thought Matete was excellent for the last 20 minutes he came on. I've been saying I like Matete for a while. I thought he'd give us energy and impetus to kind of push us over the line and won the ball back a couple of times to be able to give it to the other players. I kind of, I started this trying to talk about Tri Hume, and I'm going through all of the players that ended up on the pitch. It's bloody wonderful, isn't it? What's that kind of stuff?
It's mint. It's really good. And fair play to Try Hume because the Burnley game setting off, he took some shit after because he did crumble. I think he did. But once again, how old is he? 19, 20? Just Bairns, aren't they?
He's a kid. Yeah, he's a
They're
kid.
just kids. And they're gonna make mistakes. But as long as they're learning from them, which they clearly are, because they're coming back and putting in good performances, then so be it, you know what I mean? They've got a bright future, and I think Gooch did well at the start of the season for me, but purely defensively, I think he's a bit suspect lately when he's played. And I think if Tri Hume can now have a run of games, which I think he will, because I don't think Gooch will be risked with his injury being a muscle injury, then why not have a run in the team? You know what I mean? And Huggins has been desperately unlucky to have another setback, which is a massive shame because against Birmingham he was class, considering he hadn't kicked a ball in a year and a half. And that's two good young fullbacks that have gone no books who've just never really had a chance or a good bit of luck to, you know what I mean, to get a run in the green, to get a run in the team. But I like to say you went through everyone there. Jaco, left wing back.
He did all right, didn't he, when he came on?
Our number 9 Jaco playing left wing back. Who'd have thought it? Christian Speakman's got it all wrong. He's a left wing back.
I've always said he was a left wing back, mate. I've always said Diallo should be the left wing back. But
what a team! But yeah, like you say, Pritchard. What a signal that is, though, coming off the bench and then getting injured straight away.
It's a shame, but I feel like I feel like we can cope.
Yeah, that's it. We've got, like you say, we've mentioned all these attacking players, but I just want to give another shout out to the defence as well. The goal was sloppy, but it kind of like I think Patterson would look back at it and want to do better, but then he saved our arse on Boxing Day. Works that way. Like you say, young players' mistakes will happen as long as they're making them less than the doing good. I'm fine with it. And also, like the block by 09, massive again. Like he might, he's got his flaws defensively, but I think he's getting better every week. And I think he's made that position himself.
Do you know what? I don't know whether 09 does have a flaw because he seems to fit into every position and do well. There was one point which obviously would probably be quite embarrassing if you watched it back, but I think it's the same one you're talking about where it kind of goes over his head a bit and he knocks it back. And I was screaming at the telly for how well he did. And normally I'm screaming at the telly because I'm annoyed. And I was just shouting repeatedly at TV where you couldn't hear me, just saying how much that was fucking brilliant over and over again because it was just desire to know that he'd made a slight mistake. The lad was through. And it was just unadulterated, sheer desire to win that ball. And the thing I loved about the team in the second half as well, we were good in the first half, but the thing I loved about the team in the second half, we did not lose any loose balls or any second balls because we wanted the ball. And I love seeing that. I love passion, which comes across in desire, will to want the ball, will to need the ball, will to utilize the ball correctly. And if it's combined with the composure that our forward line's got, it's a wonderful, wonderful mix. Set up for us to get beat off Blackpool now, but I think there's just so much stuff I could say. Ballard was excellent. Ballard's just back. He broke his foot. He barely played this season. Bailey Wright's been away in Australia and barely played for them, and probably still. Oh, he can't be jet lagged from Dubai, I guess. But he was solid. Nothing got past Bailey, and Bailey is turning into about our fourth or fifth choice centre half. I just felt like the entire team was excellent. And look, I'm not going to have any negatives. I'm going to have zero negatives here. We played really, really well for the best part of 70 minutes. But can I just point out that when Ross Stewart came on, we scored 3.
True, but I think if we look back at it, when we see it, we're not being negative, but slightly critical. We should have been 3-0 before they even had their first shot on target.
Yeah.
A chance, the Diallo one where he hit the crossbar. I know we're kind of really grief. That's the easier ones for me. He's missed loads of sitters where they're easy just tap ins, and then he just scores screamers all the time or brilliant goals. It's just what he does. It's just Diallo things.
How can we discuss what the Robert's celebration was? By the way, what was that? He was like shuffling
A
about.
penguin?
Why is he doing a penguin?
I don't know. Hakimi did it for Morocco.
Oh, so he did when he scored that like
Aye, the Penenka.
Panenka. That's the one. Aye.
But I wonder if it's like a computer game thing and we're just not down with the kids, Graham.
Mate, I talked about that with the Diallo celebration when he was doing that thing with his arms, and someone it's off Fortnite, and I'm like, "What's Fortnite?" And I've just found out not long ago.
I seen Matete did one next to him as well. So, but today we're just a well-oiled machine. Everybody just went in the positions, did the jobs, wanted it more than Wigan. And what I still love about it is when Wigan scored, and I know I'm going to go with James McLean did that slide tackle. And even journalists, right, who I'm not going to name, but tweeted saying like, "Oh, it was great. Look, I love that celebration." Well, he's sliding back to League One by the looks of it, isn't he?
Yes,
Because
the
he's
journalist,
not very good.
the journalist you meant was Paul Kendrick, and Paul is
Oh,
Paul is a very nice fellow. But yes, as he said, when it goes out, you've got to be able to take it back. And I think the 3 goals is the best way to respond to any sort of goal from any sort of former Sunderland player, be that McLean, Max Power, whoever. But Ross,
one thing,
yeah,
can we quickly go back there? How did Broadhead not get in that team?
I have no idea.
That's just something that obviously we've been linked with him again in the press. But if he can't get in the team, that makes me worry a bit because they're not very good.
I mean, that's the second game they've lost 4-1, right? But I think as good as we were, they were really bad as well. Like you say, if it was 7-1 or something, like I don't think there could have been many complaints.
Nah, like you say, I thought we should have been 3-0 before they even had a first shot target. So, but yeah, it's just, although I would say they love a hoofball, so maybe that could be it.
It certainly doesn't look like the kind of team where he would fit into it. Before we kind of head off towards Blackpool, I'm going to do a preview in the morning, by the way, so you're going to get 2 for the price of 1, which is lovely. If you listen to this in the morning, the previews are probably already on the way out or out. But before we talk about Blackpool, I just want to point out the best chant this season is 100% being the yeah, Colo, Toure chant at the end. One of the most cringiest, boring chants ever. But in tonight and in the context of the game, it was absolutely superb. Whoever started that, give yourself a massive pat on the back.
The timing was perfect, and got to give it to the away fans again. And now it's like, oh, look how good we are. But 4,500 there.
Ridiculous.
Christmas week, I'm going to take another 4,000 to Blackpool or whatever it is after having 40-odd thousand at home on Boxing Day. If we keep putting in performances like this, you'll not be able to get a ticket away from home, and you struggle anyways. And then the home games will be jumping. You know what I mean? If we put our home form up, everyone's on about the atmosphere, but the games where we've battled and either drawn where we've battled, or we've won at the end, like say the Wigan game. I remember the game on Boxing Day. It was jumping, absolutely jumping, and the fans will respond to that. People have got to remember, for the majority of our fan base, we're used to being up there and doing well. League One was rough on every one of us because we were fish out of water. We'd never been used to it. We would everything was about winning, so it didn't matter how we did it, but it was just about winning. Now we can enjoy the ride, and the fans will come on, go with the club. We can put performances like that. Like you see, we might even miss out, but at least we're having a go.
Yeah, like that's what. Like if we don't get in the playoffs this season, it's all right. But do I think we can get them? Yeah, absolutely. Or based on the first 6 months of the season, yeah. If we don't get them, it's all right. I'm not going to hate anyone. The pressure's completely off. It's not like League One where it was like shit or bust. You go up, or the club potentially dies, which is what it felt like at points. This is just like, let's have a crack. We've got really good players that, some of them look Premier League quality. Roscoe, Diallo's Premier League quality without a doubt. I dare say Patrick Roberts on his days is up there as well. I've seen far worse players in the Premier League than Patrick Roberts. But you're right about the fans though, Ross. Like, look, I don't think I'm a bad fan. I like to think I'm all right. Spend a lot of my time talking about Sunderland and travelling about from Scotland to support them. So I like to think I'm not too bad. But there's people that go there every single game. And like, they're loud and they get home late and they start work early. I know a couple of people who like went down to Cheltenham last season and had to get for work in the morning after like 4 o'clock getting in, and they'd seen us get beat. And I'm like, how how can you do that? Like, I don't know, like, and I'm not just talking about like young people who've got like less responsibilities. I'm talking about blokes, grown women, like get into the game and just that's all that they do. And it's not a case of they have not. Well, I'm saying it's all that they do. It's not the only thing they've got in their life. It's just like a duty, and hats off to them. I mean, I'm going to Blackpool on Sunday, and I've been away a few times this season, but and I don't. I think I could afford it to go to every single game. And I don't know whether I could, like, because it's tough. But there's some people who haven't missed a game in about 10 years, no matter what. And like, it's them people that deserve this, really, innit? Like, people like that should just be
Aye.
reveling in
And,
this.
and you say the home form has been good, but I'm buzzing for the away fans. I've seen some performances and some moments this season.
Been worth it
You
this
know what I
season, innit?
mean? They really have. Like, you see you as well, which I love, right? You just see these random vloggers pop up at games just to watch Sunderland fans at away game. They're not bothered about the game. They just want the views on the Sunderland fans to go mental behind the goal. And it's because they're now we're absolutely mint. Let's be honest, we're mint. We'll follow all over. And I see that Colo Tory chant was a good laugh today. I enjoyed that one.
Very good. Onward to Blackpool, whatever, there's going to be a point where we feel a bit crap and we're going to go, oh no, hopefully it's not New Year's Day. But Ross, no other way to put this, but I absolutely love Sunderland.
It's fun, isn't it? It's fun again. This season's been fun. Even after the Cardiff game, we're a bit like, oh, red flags and that. But we're still mid-table in the Championship. Like,
Yeah.
we've been a lot worse. A lot worse.
I think the best way to put it is like, do you know that phrase, everything's coming up Millhouse?
I've heard it before.
It's like that. It's like everything's coming up. Like you think, oh, well, if Roberts can rediscover his form, that's kind of worked in the past 6 to 8 months. You think if Ross Stewart could just, score a couple of goals in the Championship, and he's scoring every week, and you think, well, if Sims can add to that, Sims is like I think joint top scorer now with Roscoe, or level with him, and stuff like, oh, if we can just get our home form sorted, and we're starting to sort it out. It's a little bit like I think also fans know what it feels like when things just fall into place, and things are falling into place. And the best part is the pressure's just not there.
Yeah, I think the pressure being off's a big thing, especially for the young. I think a lot of the younger players crumbled a bit last year with the pressure, which was understandable because, as you say, in League One, you lose, and it's like the worst thing in the world. And if you win, you're expected to win. So, other than the win at Wembley and maybe Sheffield Wednesday, I feel like the rest were expected wins, and we should be winning that game. So it feels a bit different to when we win in the Championship now. And without being disrespectful, well, I am being disrespectful. Shit clubs are beating us, and now when we're getting beat, we're like, oh well, they're an all right Championship side. It can happen, and we're not getting beat by shit anymore. We're getting beat by proper teams, and we're playing good football, giving it a go. We'll lose some, like the West Brom game, but sometimes after like the Cardiff game, we'll be fuming. But then there's sometimes like now where we're waxing lyrical about how good we are, and I think that's the beauty of the Championship. I think it's a great league as a neutral and even a supporter because 3 wins and you're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? That's essentially the way it is, and it's fun and exciting, and it's just good to enjoy the football again. We've got a good young squad there with a manager who likes to play good football. And if you asked us at the start of the season, after Wigan, you're gonna lose Alex Neil after before the Norwich game. Stewart and Sims are going to get injured. Let's not forget that. I don't think we should forget that we played 3/4 of the season with 0 strikers.
We'll talk about that about the strikers as well, though. But there's other players that have been out for a portion of time. Pritch is now talking a couple of games.
Yeah, unless he's missed a long time.
Sirkin missed a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
He's missing again today.
Gooch has missed quite a lot. Corey Evans has missed a few games. Like Dan Ballard, in my opinion, our best centre half signing, has missed 3/4 of the season. Luke O'Nien has played centre back or left back or right back all season. When last season he played centre mid in the playoff final. It's mad. It's a laugh in it. It's fun.
Great. I think
it's brilliant. It's just Sunderland, isn't it? It's just Sunderland.
Yeah, sometimes you locks up, isn't it? And I think, but massive credit to everyone at the club at the minute. I'm sometimes guilty of looking so deep into things, and I did it even today with the Stewart stuff, which we haven't even touched on. But credit to the club. No, let's not mention
Uh,
it. But I think one thing that's pleasing me most, and I just want to end it on this, is that you touched about us getting beat sometimes, and we go, well, okay, we're going to lose games sometimes. I think the reason for that is this team, and I'm sure there'll be someone along in a minute with some stats, but I'm pretty certain when we lose one game or have a bad performance, we very rarely have two in a row. And that's
yeah, we respond
massive.
well.
Yeah.
The one thing we weren't doing is winning 2 on the bounce. We've done that twice now since the break. We count the Birmingham game, then we beat Millwall, and now we've beat Blackburn, and then Wigan. 2 home, 2 away, so it's a nice little mix.
Doing all right, aren't we?
Look, we're doing all right.
Ross, impromptu as it was when we've just talked about how great Sunderland is, but it's fine. If people don't like it, then I don't know what's wrong with you.
I'll sleep well tonight, though.
Oh, me no, mate. Me no. I'm slightly less drunk than I was on Boxing Day, so that's a start. If you haven't listened back to it yet, we were trashed and it was great. But Ross, enjoy your night, mate. Thanks for popping on. Like, subscribe, share, shut up your ass, not bothered. Do what you want.